Okay, so we have a theory when it comes to Requiem and the Resident Evil series overall. Let us know what you think, because it's that Requiem is at the peak of Resident Evil's 3-game escalation curve. The most intense point before, usually, the whole thing gets reworked. Jesse, explain what on earth I'm going on about.
Resident Evil as a trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, right? 1, new survival horror game, you don't really know what to expect from it. You fall in love with it. A lot of puzzles, walking around the Spencer Mansion, doing a lot of cool stuff. 2, the RPD building, it's a sequel. It's sort of built upon a lot of the ideas that the first game did. Then we get to 3, and 3 is a little bit of like the black sheep of the family. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's just sort of a little more action-y.
Capcom then drastically rethought the series, and in a seminal way, but it repeated those same steps, game by game.
Resident Evil 4 hits the market, changes the game, changes the perspective, does a bunch of different things. You're an action hero. 5 takes that concept even further. Now we're like really an action game. And then by the time you get to 6, it's unrecognizable from what the franchise has really been up until this point.
And then, after the mess of Resi 6, they started on that process again with Ethan Winters in 7, and then Village, and eventually, now, Requiem.
And so there's like this escalation always in the trilogy. 7, you've got first-person horror. It's a very different take for the series. Very grounded as compared to 6. 8, Village ups the action, but still very survival horror focused. However, by the time you walk out of that game, you're a walking arsenal of weapons, and you're destroying things and blowing things up, calling in airstrikes and doing, crazy stuff. Now we're at Resident Evil Requiem, where it's sort of just a full-blown action game when you're playing as Leon. You're parrying things with your hatchet, and you're ripping out chainsaws, and you're not afraid of anything. And then you have the gray stuff, which is survival horror stuff, which ties it into 7 and 8 a little bit more in terms of the thematic gameplay sections that they're doing and sort of the ideas that they've sprinkled out between 7 and 8. But so much of that game is like so over the top that I think maybe we'll reset again when we get to 10. But Resident Evil 12, I think we're gonna be up there again. You know what I mean?
So, what do you think? The interesting thing here is that, unlike Resident Evil 3 and 6, Requiem has been pretty well received. Will that lead Capcom to indulge one step further in the current setup? Or will the next Resi game drastically rethink the series once more? We'd love to hear your thoughts.